Hi. So, in the past year and a half, the iDesign Corporation, which is a professional course design company, worked alongside with many of our senior faculty members in redesigning a large part of our core courses. The process was arduous and basically required a lot of hours from both iDesign staff and our faculty members, but the project is now complete. In the spring of 2022, the e-learning advisory council recommended that the iDesign format become the standard for all of Grayson's courses in Canvas. As we currently own this process and will be integrating it with the cooperation of in-house staff members and faculty, we have chosen to rebrand the adopted format as the Grayson Design. The Grayson Design, formerly the iDesign template, is an organizational tool that allows for the creation of courses in Canvas that provide a consistent look and feel across the Grayson domain. The Grayson Design allows students to see familiar landmarks throughout the courses, and it allows the instructors to create and maintain their own content. The Grayson Design is not a curriculum, it is a tool to organize and present content. Grayson Design also provides a standardized way to present the boilerplate material required for compliance with Grayson's accreditation agreement. Information like Title IX, safety regulations, procedures, and access to campus services is already in place inside the design and is consistent throughout all of Grayson's courses. Now, what the Grayson Design is not. The Grayson Design is not a curriculum. It does not contain any inherent content. It has no requirements for content other than the boilerplate material required for accreditation. The instructor is solely responsible for the educational material, the assignments, the assessments, and whatnot used in their classes. The template only provides a framework for those materials to be presented in a concise, consistent, and organized manner for the students. Where did we get the Grayson Design? Well, the iDesign project was born out of the need to provide a quick and organized online course during the COVID-19 outbreak of 2021. We were given an iRepo grant for institutional resilience and expanded educational opportunities from the U.S. Department of Education, and through this grant, we were able to purchase the services of the iDesign Corporation to upgrade our online educational presence. In the past year and a half, iDesign had worked with our faculty and staff to redesign many of our core courses. A lot of our faculty did many weeks and hours of work to redesign their courses. The project is now complete, and in the spring of 2022, our e-learning advisory council recommended that the iDesign format become standardized at Grayson College. As we now own this process, we are calling it the Grayson Design. Why would we want to incorporate the Grayson Design in our courses? The key reason for incorporating the Grayson process in our curriculum design is consistency. According to Johnson and McDaniel of Vanderbilt University, two key considerations in online course design are consistency and access. If students are unable to find the material they need within a course, they are unable to complete the course successfully regardless of other factors. The iDesign process allows for consistency in pedagogy as well. Through the use of icons, a consistent naming convention for modular sections, and the incorporation of a well-marked path of elements leading students through the modules, the design provides an environment of uninterrupted educational flow and gives a multitude of access points for students to reach the materials they need. These factors greatly enhance the pedagogy of the courses to which they are applied. Further, the iDesign process is a good way to meet the requirements for the Grayson Course Standards Checklist developed by the e-learning advisory council. This checklist is a large part of the course evaluation process and is used by deans and chairs to help evaluate the suitability of courses for inclusion in the Grayson curriculum. Using our design will ensure that courses meet many of the standards that Grayson has put in place.
All right, so good morning. I'm Dr. Michael Anders. I work in the Health Science Department. I teach in the RN to BSN program here. and I was one of the charter members that started with the new Grayson Canvas design templates that when we were working with the iDesign team. And so I'm here to talk to you a little bit about that. Well, one of the best things about the format is consistency. That really played a big part in what we have. And so it got everything in the same, got the modules all the same. And so that we use the same language, we use the same setup. It helps the student, when they go from course to course, it looks familiar to them from the very beginning. Another advantage of having that standardized is a lot of the stuff that we put in the Canvas courses that I had to rebuild or recheck every semester was the standard stuff, like what computer systems do you need, what resources are available on the campus, the Title IX, all of that is already put directly into the course, and so I don't have to redo that every time. And it's in the same spot, so it's easy for the students to find. Well, and I kind of alluded to that in the first question, is I think the students really appreciate the consistency. When they go from one course to the next, it looks familiar to them. They're not having to relearn how to navigate the course. And I heard that complaint before we did the standard template, was every time they spent the first week, every time they went to a new course, trying to figure out where they were supposed to find their assignments, where they were supposed to find their reading, and using the course template puts all that in the same spot for every course. So I think that's the biggest advantage, I think, to the students, is that the courses all look familiar to them when they move from one to the next. There again, we kind of alluded to that already. But the big thing is a lot of that standard information on the college, the Grayson College, the help desk, all of that, it's all in the same spot. And it's in a module where you can click on that and all of that information is right there in one spot. And so it's easier for the students to find. We use the tutoring services. That's easy to find because now they know where it's at. So it's not having to relearn how to do Canvas every time. They were significant. As I had mentioned earlier, I was in the very first group that worked with iDesign, and so no one really knew what to expect. And it's a lot of work. It was a lot of work on the very front end because we were starting from scratch and we didn't know what to expect. And there were a lot of challenges once we got the finished product, because some things worked as we thought they would and some things didn't work that had to continuously be modified. Giving you an example was the team we were working with, I got the wrong rubric in my assignment. It's a minor deal to fix, but at the same time, I'm already into the course with students before I realize that the rubric's not correct. Things like grading scheme. So that very first initial takes a lot of effort to go through and just line by line and make sure that your course is what it is. Once that's established, man, it is so easy to copy that Canvas course over to the next semester, adjust the dates. And actually with simple syllabus, that it does that automatically for you. So it's a very much more streamlined process. Prior to doing the template, I probably spent several hours working on each course, making sure it was all up, and now I can do that rather rapidly by just copying the course over. And I know it's good. It's just like everything else. It's work. And change, and nobody likes to do that. We've been doing it for 10, 15, 20 years like this. Why are we having to do something new? And I think the big thing is to focus on, one, once we're done, it streamlines your job and the student's job. And you just, to me is the best approach is just to say, I'm trying to make a system better for the students. The consistency from one Canvas course to the next is really a big advantage for the college. They use the same system in the health science department, whether the students are on campus or they're online or they're in a hybrid form. And so as students transition into those different types of programs and courses, the Canvas part, they don't have to relearn that because our template looks exactly the same. But you got to be open. It does take a lot of work, takes a lot of effort, a lot of attention to detail, and you just have to prepare for that. Just keep the underlying idea that we're trying to make our system more streamlined and more consistent so that it works better in the long run. Well, my life's pretty good now as far as setting up Canvas courses. Simple syllabus, and the template has really simplified me adjusting my courses from semester to semester. And like I said, it all looks consistent. It's all easier to just transfer over. It was a lot of work at the beginning, but now I find fewer and fewer and fewer places where I need to adjust. The other thing that I did with the template, which I didn't do prior, was I did a lot of individualized personalization from my courses in my modules. I've gotten away from that so that everything is more seamless, and it's an easier transition from semester to semester now.
In general, I don't find it substantively different from the Canvas format. However, I do think the incorporation of some visual icons is helpful for students if you can get them to pay attention to those things. I've not noticed a huge difference yet. So back in the day, students who were fresh out of high school only had to learn how to navigate a textbook, which they were already familiar with, and a syllabus, which was a new cognitively challenging document. And now students who begin may or may not have computer skills. They may not know how to use Google Docs or word processing. They may or may not, most often, have never seen a learning management system. That's more convenient for teachers and staff and administration than it is for students. Syllabus is easier to handle. And then they also have to learn to interface with a different software textbook in every class because we have online textbooks. So they're immediately inundated with 3 new types of software in every class, because the Canvas classes look different, the textbooks look different, whether they're negotiating with Word or with Google Docs. This is a new thing. So by implementing iDesign, at least when they open up their Canvas courses, every class could look the same, which is going to lower their anxiety. It's less cognitively challenging because everybody has the same icons. Everybody has the same weekly pieces where they do an overview and the learning materials and the wrap-ups. So it's going to introduce a sense of familiarity that they would normally have from a textbook, which is going to decrease the load. They're still going to have the high load on trying to figure out the new software on their textbooks, and hopefully they will become more familiar with Word and with Google Docs, whichever they're using, over the course of time. So I perceive iDesign, or the new format that we're going to use, as being a way of lowering anxiety levels for students, to making things seem more familiar, not as challenging after their very first semester. And this could actually be something that we introduce them to in their college connections the very first week, so that they would then, from now on, always see the exact same items when they opened up their Canvas courses. And I think that would be tremendously helpful, because in the past, as I said, they only had to deal with the syllabus. And now they have multiple pieces of new software to learn, and many of them have never learned any software. So that's probably my biggest perception of iDesign, or the new format. I think the main challenge was the teachers that did it for the English department had people from the company doing their class for them, so they could not teach me how to do it. And over the course of the summer, I had to basically teach myself how to change it, and how to change it quickly without as much repetition, because you have to change everything in your Canvas class. Every single item, every page, every file, every video document, everything has to be changed. And it's very challenging. Took a really long time I was not paid for that time. And I basically lost a summer changing 2 classes. Now, having said that, I think over time, as more and more courses on campus change to the new format, I think that time is well spent, because it will reduce the cognitive challenges of these students. And they're not going to let us go back to plain old textbooks, which would be the easiest thing to do. So we have to move forward. Come and ask me for help. I can teach it from my point of view, because from your and Todd's point of view, it's different. And I am happy to make life easier. As a matter of fact, I've already met with a couple of the professors in the English department and gone through my course and what changes you were able to do for me that made the new format fit my own courses better, so that it was much easier for them to convert their courses over, because they were able to ask me questions. How do I do this? How do I do that? And because I was finally very familiar with it, I could very quickly tell them. And I think, if you had a core person from each department that I taught, then each person in that everybody in that department would have a go-to person who could then help them walk through it. We had somebody design their whole courses for us, but I don't want to teach what those teachers are teaching. I teach the same core concepts. I don't teach it the same way. I don't cover the same content. In other courses, it will be the same content. So they might be able to copy and paste from one person. In the English department, that doesn't work. But we were still able to make it work for us. But I was unable to use the courses that were set up through the company, because it was not a template. It was, this is my course. If you want to teach it, you're teaching my content. I just really feel like because we only have first and second year students, many of whom are fresh out of high school, where they've never learned a learning management system, they've never had an online book, they've never had to learn software. It's challenging. We have so many other students who've been out of school for a substantial amount of time, and they're scared enough about the content, much less all of the peripheral software that goes along with it, that is very intimidating. And I think that by having the whole school on the same page, it will make things easier. If Canvas were set up so that every time a student opened Canvas it looked the same, then we wouldn't need this new format. However, that is not true at this time. and everybody's Canvas course looks different. This new format helps to make it less intimidating for students, less challenging, and once they've opened one class, the next class they open will function the same way. It may be a little bit different in each department, but I do think that after quite a few departments have this in play, that we could even come together, and I hate to use the word standardize, but what it needs is that the pieces that are most being used look the same in everybody's classes. And I think that's going to reduce the load that each of our students have when they come in and they start over with new stuff that they've never seen before. They don't know. They have to watch videos about how to use Word, videos about how to use their textbook, videos about how to use Canvas, videos about how to check their grades, videos about how to submit a grade. And this is very time consuming. So this would be one way that it could be simplified.
So what we've taken from our observations to this point is that consistency seems to be the key attribute for the Grayson design. Along with most researchers, we are finding that providing students with a consistent look from course to course and year to year provides a notable boost in student comprehension and retention of information. The less time they spend learning a new course design each year allows for more time spent in the content. Also, there's a considerable reduction in stress levels, particularly among newer and older students, as they become comfortable with the design similarities in each of the classes that they take.